Y'all having a karmic meltdown yet? This weekend is not an easy weekend. It's a little bit crunchy. It might be really triggery. It's probably going to be challenging in some way, shape, or form. It's a great weekend to get introspective, to go within, to really get spiritual. There's a lot of really powerful spiritual aspects, Neptune being a big player in that. The mind, Mercury, is in some interesting stuff around waking up. Uranus is a part of this. Neptune is a part of this. These are spiritual awakeners. So it's a great weekend for that kind of stuff. It's also, interestingly, a really good weekend for soul purpose type work, soul callings, soul gifts, soul purpose, and also what's in the way of those soul gifts coming online. That's another really good question for this weekend. So this weekend, we're in eclipse season. So that means this is more potent, like there's more intensity to it. There's more, it's like the sun is amplified by 100. You know, there's like lightning bolts of awakening energy. Eclipse times are just very spiritual times overall. But having these couple aspects, which I'll talk about in a second, lining up in the way that they are this weekend, it's like, I just keep seeing this image of like, we're in like a vice and like the screws are getting tightened and tightened and tightened. That could be a really good meditation to do. So if there's a practice that I would suggest doing from an embodied place, I would do that. I would just imagine like, all right, I'm in a vice and it's just getting tighter and it's getting tighter and it's getting tighter and it's getting tighter. And then asking, what has to give? Like, what part of me has to give? Because it's all about transformation. It's a lot about transformation at the moment. Like radical revolutionary transformation on one hand, deep karmic evolutionary transformation on another hand. That's Pluto. So the radical revolutionary is Uranus. He's all up in the mix this weekend. Deep karmic changes where we think this is as much responsibility as we can take on, but that's not true. We think this is the best we can get at something, and that's just not true. There's another level of mastery to you. There's another level of what you're capable of. That's Saturn. He's opposing the sun this weekend. And I would also say Pluto. Pluto's really, really loud. He's at the 29th degree, but he's in some really interesting stuff lining up this weekend. One of them includes some really wild aspects, and I'm going to talk about Pallas Athena. If there was one, it's hard for me to say. I was going to say, if there was one feminine archetypal energy that I would lean into this weekend, but I don't want to say that. She's going to be the one that's getting hit from all angles. So if you were to do that practice of like the screws are getting tightened, like life's getting uncomfortable. And if there's anything I can say about this, it's let it. Like let it get tighter. Like resistance is futile at this moment. Resistance is futile during this eclipse with all of these dark goddess energies. I talked a lot about the dark goddess energies in our latest astrology video. I just did eclipse season special episode part 1. So it talks all about these energetics. Everything that I'm kind of talking about today goes deeper into that. If you type 260, we'll shoot you a DM over to that, or you can like look for all the links all over the place, or just search ReWilding with Sabrina Lynn on any podcast platform and just look for eclipse season latest podcast episode 260. Again, type that and in the comments and we can DM you that link. But the energetics that are going on at the moment, we have Kali conjunct Pallas. Kali, right? She's a fierce liberator, but it's like liberator of the little self for the true self, the false self for the true self, right? Little self for big self. There's Medusa conjunct the sun, another dark goddess energy. She's conjunct the sun, opposing Saturn on Friday. And then the sun opposes Saturn, right? That's karma. That's Father Time, Lord of Karma. And he's kind of just saying to us, it's time. He's saying it's time to that deeper feminine within us that hasn't been expressed yet. That's Medusa. It's time. It's time. It's time to reveal your true colors. It's time. It's time. It's time for a deeper truer expression of your feminine to be coming online. There's other aspects pointing to that. Again, I talk more about that in the astrology episode. There's just too much to go into on a video like this. Okay, so we've got that happening with the sun. The sun opposing Saturn happens on Saturday, right? That's a big deal. It's a big deal. Medusa on the sun. She's been with the sun. She's going to stay with the sun through this eclipse season. It's a Medusa Hecate eclipse coming up on the 17th. That's the first of the eclipses. Again, we're already in the energetic container of eclipse season. So it's karmic, it's fated, it's destined, and you're right on time. But it's asking, like, what am I right on time for? What is this? And instead of seeing this as something really powerful to do during eclipse season, and I kind of started to talk about this, instead of seeing it as like pushing something away, right? Where we're like, oh my gosh, no, I don't want it to be this uncomfortable. We welcome it in. That's the greatest thing I can share with you about this moment in time, these next couple of weeks, is it's challenging. It's so challenging, like this crunchy thing in my relationship that I just can't fucking get sorted out. Or this like home, I'm trying to find fucking home, but in the meantime, it's so fucking annoying, right? Like I know this doesn't fit, but I don't know what fits. And instead of pushing things away, instead of sweeping them under the carpet or ignoring them or avoiding them or escaping out of it, which there's some energy around that where we just want to numb out. We want to numb out. We want to check out. It's not a moment to do that. I know. You can check out to check back in, right? So if it's getting really intense and you're like, I can't stay with this. It's so much right now. Great. Check out. Maybe watch Netflix for a little bit, but you do it really consciously. I'm checking out so that I can check back in. I'm taking a break. I'm taking a break from these challenging conversations with my partner. I'm taking a break from whatever it is that we're willing to see. It's like this moment of time of the truth will set you free, but first it's going to piss you off. That's this weekend. The truth will set you free, but first it's going to piss you off, shake you up. You're going to want to avoid it. You're going to want to pretend it's not there, but it's there. It's there. Here's the other thing. It might not be super clear just yet. The mind, Mercury, is doing some wacky stuff this weekend. Mercury squares Uranus. This is huge. Mercury retrograde just ended. We're in that final stage though. So we're in the third sweep. So he goes across once, then goes backwards twice, goes back through. He's direct now, but he's still crossing over what he's been over. So he's doing his third and final square to Uranus. What does that mean? Mercury is the mind. It's also a part of self that we are very, very conscious of. Very, very conscious of. You have radical revolutionaries saying, wake up to yourself, sunshine. This is the third chance, 3 strikes, right? This is now go time. So you've got Uranus throwing lightning bolts of awakening at your mind, right? Wake up, this is it. This is what your Mercury retrograde was about. And remember, Mercury retrograde overall theme was about you shining your unique light, your unique gifts. How does love want to move through you? Your next level of courage around you just letting yourself be the bright, shiny, unique, beautiful thing that you are in the world. And so Uranus is kind of giving us that final lightning bolt of wake up. He's a Kundalini awakener, so that's part of the spiritual stuff going on this weekend. He's also a force that will bring sudden change into our lives. So this could be, given this is the third swoop, where it's like a sudden change of thinking. It could also be physical things that are changing too, right? Like a sudden change, a sudden shift. But really think about it as it could be a sudden paradigm shift. I mean, that's like life transformative right there if we have a sudden paradigm shift. So that could be how that shows up. Now, right after that square this weekend, Mercury then for the third and final time goes into his finger of God. I mean, this is more fated, destined. Finger of God, it's a yod. It's Pluto and Neptune are pointing right at Mercury for the third and final time. This is huge. This is huge, but this is where it might be confusing. Neptune brings a lot of confusion. He dissolves. He brings in the cloud of unknowing. He dissolves everything that was there so that we can put the pieces back together and see more with less foggy glasses. We can see clearer. Our perceptions have changed. And so that's wanting to happen one final time. So it's a goofy mind weekend. And I've been talking about this a lot, that this moment in time, it's Virgo season. What's the greatest thing that we can do to support ourselves through all of September, really, and this eclipse season, is go deeper into intuitive. Get real intuitive about stuff, because the mind is getting rewired at the moment. It's getting rewired. Mercury is not coming out of his final shadow, like he's in the back end shadow. It's that final piece of the retrograde. He's still there until the 11th. So until September 11th, he's not out yet. These are the final days of it. And so dropping into a deeper, more intuitive, like I keep saying, it's Virgo season, it's the Earth Priestess. Like, get witchy about it, right? Like, the witchy, wild woman, medicine woman in us knows. She knows. She stands at that crossroads. She sees past, present, and future. She knows which direction to go. She knows what she needs in the moment. She knows. And so that's the place to really deepen into. I talk much more about that too in that Eclipse episode. So 260, dive in. It's an hour long. Like, it's a deep dive. This is a really good weekend to do it, because again, it's a good weekend for meditations, for introspective journeys, for inward journeys, for soul type work. Let me feel for any last thing that I want to share. I do want to circle back and talk a little bit more about Pallas Athena. I started talking about her and I said, remember, like, the vice. It's like, if there was one part of self that's really in the vice, it's the feminine wisdom warrior within us. I know, isn't that interesting? So go to the medicine woman if we want to really tap into intuition, like go deeper. Like, it's like womb wisdom, medicine woman wisdom. That's the place where she's alive, she's loud, and she's got a lot to say, and she's going to help you stay in alignment, help you make good decisions, right? It's from that place. That's the best place to go. Best place to go through all of eclipse season is there. But there's also this feminine wisdom warrior in us, Pallas Athena. She's a wisdom warrior. She's a strategist. And she's like, she wants to fight. She wants to fight for you. She wants to fight for what you love, fight for your soul purposes, fight for your soul callings, fight for the things. And it doesn't have to be like a fight. She's also just a strategist, right? So it's not like battle with like swords and shit all the time. It's also just, she's strategist. And it could be like, you're going to war with an old part of self, and so she's great at strategizing, but right now she's in a vice. She's got Pluto, she's got Neptune, she's got Uranus, she's got all the big hitters on her. She's on the 29th degree of Scorpio, right? So if we were going to do that practice that I shared before, that like you're in a vice, you could do it with like that strategist warrior in you. Just feel into that, like the strategist warrior in me. She's in a vice. And she's backed up into a corner. Right? But backed up into a corner so that it switches on her magic. That's the best way to work with that. So that it switches on her strategist. There is no victim. There is no victim here. There is no room for victim in this stuff. Right? No room for victim. There's no room for overwhelm. There's no room for woe is me. There's no room for any of that. It's you're backed up in a corner and you have much more power than you know you have. You are wiser than you know you are, and you can do a whole hell of a lot more than you think you can. This is really a moment in time where it's like, I'm just going to say it like it is, whatever, throw this in the fucking bucket if you don't like it, that's totally fine. I very much respect what resonates with you and what doesn't, right? That's all we got to go on is like what feels true, what lands for us and what doesn't land for us. But it's very much like I think people have been talking about this for a while too, but I feel it as another one of those moments in time where it's like there's a separation going on, where there's like a crew of us people, whatever. There's a crew of us who are like, right, I'm stepping up. Like, there is no room to play woe is me. There is no room for me to keep playing victim. There is no room for me to keep playing this old limited story. There just is no room. And so it's like this real empowered journey of like, we're really stepping into our power, but we're really stepping into our power in that we're owning the fact that we're creating our fucking lives. Owning the fact that we're creating our fucking lives to a degree that we weren't owning it before, where we were more of like a victim of fate instead of master of destiny. That's what this moment in time is asking for. Master of destiny. You are a master of your life. You are a master of your life. And everything's kind of like weaving together to help you to really see, to really awaken to your superpowers, to really awaken to the things that you didn't think you could do. But you wouldn't awaken to them if you weren't put in a vice, shoved into a corner, made really fucking uncomfortable. You won't awaken to your power. You won't awaken to it. You won't. You just won't. And so it's like all of these like beautiful, glorious archetypal energies and the astrology is all lining up. And it's like, I'm going to give you that gift. I'm going to give you that gift. I love you so much that I'm going to give you that gift, that I'm going to make it so hard for you that you have nothing to do other than, one, crumple in a corner and cry, play victim, which is a choice, right? It's still a choice. Or two, own your power. Step into what it is that you're capable of, that you don't even know. It's that old Marianne Williamson quote, right? It's not that you're afraid of failing, right? The thing we are most afraid of is that we are these infinitely powerful beings, and that is what we are actually terrified of. Whew. Okay, so just that for the weekend. We're holding a ReWilding challenge next weekend. Yeah, so this weekend it's, the 7th, 8th. Next weekend we start Friday the 13th. It's free. It's 3 days of ReWilding. It's 3 days of archetypal embodiment. It's 3 days. I feel a lot of, I know we're working with Lilith, so if anybody has ever wanted to work with the archetypal, glorious, sacred energy of Lilith, she is a wild woman. We're working with her, I know that for sure, and I know that we'll be working with Eclipse energy. So Eclipse energy has a lot to do with your true north, your highest path forward, because we're in eclipse. And I don't know what other archetypes we'll be working with or exactly how it's going to unfold. It depends on who shows up. Everything gets created in the moment, and everything gets created from a place of what is it that serves the moment? What is it that serves the moment? And even if this isn't like your thing, maybe just come and watch and see how that unfolds. Y'all, like it's pretty fucking magical. I can't even describe how it works. I don't know how it works. Other than I just pray a lot the whole time of like, may the best thing come through, may the best thing come through. How can I serve this moment? How can we serve this moment? What is the highest thing that can unfold for this group of people at this moment in time? What is it? What is it? What is it? What is it? Everything comes from there. So I'd love for you to experience it. All right, if you want to do that, type challenge below. We'll shoot you the details. Otherwise, like you can look for links all over the place, and you'll probably find something somewhere. It's the ReWilding Challenge, starts Friday the 13th. And then the episode I would say to go watch is episode 260, and that's on the eclipse. Kind of this whole first part of September, first 3 weeks of September kind of holds the energetics of that. All right, huge love to you all. I know this was a monsterly long episode. I didn't plan on it getting this long. All right, see you when I see you, where I see you, and how I see you. Mwah.